Maria Theresia von Paradis, the poetry of Robert Frost, fall accessories, and seasonal home decor. Welcome to the Chic Assignment Check-In for September 2019. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Daily Connoisseur. We are back for the Chic Assignment Check-In for September. And these Chic Assignments are really measuring out the year for me. I'm always scrambling to do the check-in when I realize that the month is almost over and we're about to enter into the next one. If you're new here, my name is Jennifer and I love to seek out the arts, to cultivate my mind. I love stylish things. And that's what being a daily connoisseur is all about. It's about having a well-rounded life, getting a joie de vivre over every moment and having an interest in beautiful things. And so the Chic Assignment really explores that. I enjoyed this month. It was no exception. There were some awesome assignments and I know that a lot of you enjoyed them as well. So we are going to jump right in and let's talk about the first assignment. So the first assignment was to listen to Sicilienne in E-flat major by Maria Theresia von Paradis. And I know so many of you wrote to me about this piece. It is just perfection. And I truly listened to this piece almost every day this month. And I can't tell you how many times I was having a really hard day, a stressful day. I was just done. And I just put it on YouTube and I just listened to it while I cleaned the kitchen or while I did a task. And it just added so much depth and beauty to my day and kind of brought me back to reality, right? In a good way. And I mean, isn't this the most beautiful piece? So I have a few more performances from YouTube that I wanted to share with you today, and you can listen to those as well. I kind of had it on a playlist, so I was just listening to different renditions of it. And it's played with cello, sometimes it's played with violin, and it's so beautiful. I wanted to read to you about the composer herself, because she is a very fascinating figure. She's a woman composer, and back then that was very rare. Not only that, but she was blind at a young age. So let's read a little bit more about Maria Theresia von Paradis. Okay, I uncovered her biography from Robert Cummings, and it says, Maria Theresia von Paradis was a remarkable figure in music history, for not only did she attain significant triumphs as both a composer and performer, rare enough achievements for a woman living in 18th and 19th century Europe, but she had to cope with the dreadful handicap of blindness. Maria Theresia von Paradis was born in Vienna on May 15, 1759. Her father, Joseph Anton von Paradis, was Imperial Secretary of Commerce under Empress Maria Theresia, after whom young Maria was named. When Maria was 2, she began losing her eyesight, and by the age of 5, she was blind. How heartbreaking. They offered hope that her vision might partially be restored, but after 1777, she had to resign herself to a life of total blindness. By this time, she'd already established a career as a pianist and singer in Viennese concert halls and saloons. Not saloons, salons. Moreover, she had gained respect from the most prominent composers and musicians of the day, including Mozart. By some accounts, his Piano Concerto No. 18 was written for her. She wrote 5 operas between 1789 and 1797, as well as numerous other works. Unfortunately, many of her scores have been lost, including 2 piano concertos and 12 piano sonatas. By 1800, Paradis had begun focusing on teaching, and in 1808 she founded a music school for girls in Vienna. For the last decade and a half of her life, she taught there and continued to turn out an occasional composition, like the 1811 Fantasie in C for piano. So I think that that's remarkable, just the fact that she had that handicap and she still persevered and was still so inspiring, and it's just amazing to me. And I love that she opened up a school of music for girls. I just get the chills. I just love thinking about this, that someone so long ago can compose a piece of music and that it could affect so many people today, you know, hundreds of years later. It's just amazing, and she has affected me. I just love Sicilienne in E-flat major. It's one of my absolute favorites. So I hope that you enjoyed it as well, and I hope that you enjoyed learning about Maria Theresia von Paradis. Okay, time for a tea break. I am drinking Earl Grey with lemon. What are you drinking? Let us know down below. Okay, Chic Assignment number 2. Enjoy the poetry of Robert Frost. And I have just enjoyed this so much. This is why I like the Chic assignment, because, you know, we've all read a poem by Robert Frost probably once or twice in our life, but this is allowing us to read more, think more about it, just concentrate on this in a way that is just so exciting to me. I came across an interview of him on YouTube, and it's later in his life, and it's fascinating. I'm going to leave it down below. If you want to know more about Robert Frost, you've got to watch this interview. What a fascinating man. So I'm going to read more poetry from him for you today. And I thought I would start with one of my favorites. So the last time I read to you The Road Not Taken, and I shared what I believe is the true interpretation of the poem. It's so funny because if you watch the interview of him down below, somebody asks him about that. Can you imagine writing something that is so famous and so many millions of people have read, and most of them have misinterpreted your true meaning? That would be so strange and maybe a bit frustrating too, but he doesn't seem to be frustrated by it. So I'm going to read to you Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, which is one of my other favorites of his. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. My soul just feels refreshed reading this. This is a person who has responsibilities, he has a place to go and a mission to go on, but he stops and he reflects. And I think we've all done that in our own life, where we have a to-do list, we've got responsibilities, things that we don't necessarily want to do, but that we have to do. And there are those quiet moments in the day where we stop and we just hold something. And there is a choice that we can go off and do that other thing that's fun and escapist, or we can choose to go back and do our responsibilities, and most of us choose the responsibilities. I'm going to read those last 4 lines again because they're beautiful. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. It's so good. Okay, I wanted to read you one more. We're spending the most time on this because I think it's important. But I'm going to read to you Birches. And Birches is an ode to, I believe, his childhood. And it's one of the nature poems of his. And I think it's just perfect for fall. So let's go ahead and read Birches by Robert Frost. When I see birches bend to left and right across the lines of straighter, darker trees, I like to think some boy's been swinging them. But swinging doesn't bend them down to stay, as ice storms do. Often you must have seen them, loaded with ice a sunny winter morning after a rain. They click upon themselves as the breeze rises and turn many-colored as the stir cracks and crazes their enamel. Soon the sun's warmth makes them shed crystal shells, shattering and avalanching on the snow crust. Such heaps of broken glass to keep away, you'd think the inner dome of heaven had fallen. They are dragged to the withered bracken by the load, and they seem not to break, though once they are bowed. So low for long they never right themselves. You may see their trunks arching in the woods, years afterwards, trailing their leaves on the ground, like girls on hands and knees that throw their hair before them over their heads to dry in the sun. But I was going to say, when truth broke in, with all her matter of fact about the ice storm, I should prefer to have some boy bend them, as he went out and in to fetch the cows. Some boy too far from town to learn baseball, whose only play was what he found himself, summer or winter, and could play alone. One by one he subdued his father's trees by writing them down over and over again until he took the stiffness out of them. And not one but hung limp, not one was left for him to conquer. He learned all there was to learn about not launching out too soon, and so not carrying the tree away, clear to the ground. He always kept his poise to the top branches, climbing carefully with the same pains he used to fill a cup up to the brim, and even above the brim. Then he flung outward, feet first with a swish, kicking his way down through the air to the ground. So was I once myself a swinger of birches, and so I dream of going back to be. It's when I'm wary of considerations, and life is too much like a pathless wood, where your face burns and tickles with the cobwebs, broken across it and one eye is weeping, from a twig's having lashed across it open. I like to get away from earth a while, and then come back to it and begin over. May no fate willfully misunderstand me, and half grant what I wish and snatch me away, not to return. Earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. I'd like to go by climbing a birch tree, and climb black branches up a snow-white trunk, toward heaven, till the tree could bear no more, but dipped its top and set me down again. That would be good, both going and coming back. One could do worse than be a swinger of birches. I don't know why I get so emotional reading all of this. I just think that there's so much beauty in the world, so much to contemplate, and so much of it can be found in nature. And I feel like we miss so much of it, Oh my goodness, I don't know why I'm crying. It's just so beautiful. I think that childhood in particular is beautiful. I think this is what it reminds me of. When I was a child, there was a tree in front of our home in our front yard. I need to have a sip of tea so I'm not crying. Okay, when I was a child, there was a tree in our front yard. I've told this to my children. And it had these two perfect boughs that were perfect for laying in. It was like a little hammock, basically. And so during the summertime, I would climb the tree almost every day, and I would go up and I would lay in those boughs and I would read a book. And so I'd be up there for an hour sometimes. And I remember one day I had put cocoa butter lotion on my arms, and it was the summertime, and I climbed the tree. I think I was wearing shorts and a tank top, and I had a book with me, and I was just reading up there, and I must have fallen asleep. I woke up and I had all of these hornets on my arms from the cocoa butter. They were attracted to it, and I was so freaked out because I'm allergic to bees. And I screamed and I fell out of the tree. Thankfully, I didn't break any arms or anything like that. I fell out of the tree, and it's just something I'll never forget, right? But that tree meant so much to me. And then I remember one day the city came and they were cutting all the trees in the neighborhood, and they cut down my tree. And I just remember looking out the window and just crying like a baby, just bawling like, no, don't cut my tree. Oh my goodness, I can't believe this memory is doing this to me. As children, it's so important that we have a connection with nature. And this poem just reminded me of that, of the boy, and the narrator's wondering, are the birch trees bent because, some boy has been playing on the branches? More likely they've been bent from the ice storm. But yes, one could do worse than be a swinger of birches. So I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm so emotional about this. I just love his poetry. It really speaks to me. So there you go, the poetry of Robert Frost. I would love to know your thoughts down below. Okay, I'm trying to compose myself. I'm moving on. We're going to talk about now curating our seasonal accessories. And I did a video on Monday, and so I hope that you saw that video with the fall accessories. So I just showed some of the accessories that I'm going to be using this fall: velvet scrunchies, shawls, and I have that lovely Merci wrap and the plaid fall scarf that I got, some of the beautiful jewelry pieces that I have. So if you haven't seen that video, I will leave it linked down below, but I'm not going to go into it here because I pretty much covered everything in that video. And as for the chic assignment number 4, switching out your seasonal decor, I had meant to get that video up before the check-in, but with the publication of my book, Connoisseur Kids, everything kind of got pushed back, so for a good cause. So I do not have that video out yet, but I will be putting it out soon in the next few weeks. So I have just been loving just subtle changes for the fall season. I'm moving more toward natural things for the home. So whereas on many other channels you'll see Bath and Body Works hauls, I'm not doing that. This year, I'm going to show you some beautiful natural candles from small businesses that hardly any people know about, and that type of thing. So beautiful fall candles, fall scents, and essential oils and things like that from lesser known companies, which I think it's important to show these companies and, just show them to the world, because small businesses are very important. So you will be able to look out for that soon. Next week is going to be my 10-item wardrobe video. I'm so excited for this. Been filming it over the past few weeks, and this is my favorite 10-item wardrobe ever. I have some budget pieces in there, like the dress that I'm wearing today is in there. This is from Target, and I love it. And I also have some higher end pieces like Velvet by Graham & Spencer dress. So it's really a mixture. It's going to be really exciting. I can't wait to talk to you about all of it. I have a special bonus video coming out tomorrow about me shopping for some of the pieces as well. So I hope that you're subscribed to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me for the Chic assignment. I can't believe I got so emotional about that. But that's what this does to you. That's what poetry and art and music can do to you. It evokes things in us. It brings out emotions in us that are so important to feel. And because we're so glued to our screens and to reading meaningless things online and a lot of it, So anyway, that's why the Chic assignment means a lot to me, and it means a lot to me that you join me for it. So we're almost in October, and before you know it, the Chic assignment for October will be here. So I would love to hear your thoughts on the Chic assignment. How is it going for you? What have you discovered? Did you cry like a baby like me when you were reading Robert Frost poetry? Let me know. One other thing I wanted to mention is that I love to write poetry myself, and I have been writing poetry all month long. I've just been so inspired. So I hope that in some capacity one day I can share that with you as well. Before I go, I just want to thank you all so much for supporting my new book, Connoisseur Kids. The 5 winners of the giveaway were announced on the blog, so I just want to say congratulations to those ladies, and I've already connected with them. And I just appreciate every single person who buys the book and who shares it and reviews it. I thank you so much. So I'm doing this book officially with my children. When I was writing it, I was also doing it, but we're actually going through it from start to finish. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or anything, but this is a good book. If you have kids, seriously, just take little tiny bite-sized ideas in the book, like 2 pages at a time, one little concept, and work on it. And they get so excited with the activities here. I just think it's just going to be such a game changer for so many people, and that's my hope anyway. So I just want to thank everybody for your support of my writing. It means the world to me. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Daily Connoisseur, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Also, a special thank you to my friend Nikki Moreno for designing these gorgeous fall end cards for my channel. Go check out her channel, Inspired by Nikki. She is so wonderful. Thank you so much, Nikki.